What up, my guys? Welcome to another show. Sorry I didn't do a show last night, but I know I said if we got to 1,000 likes. Went to the gym yesterday, man, with my son and started feeling horrible right after, guys. So not feeling 100%. Finna try to power through this card. Unfortunately, it's a ton of fucking games, guys. I hadn't bet anything, but I'll go through every single game and let you know what I'm looking at, my guys. So like I said, gonna try to power through. If you guys can, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Join the Action Network app as well, my guys. Let's get straight to it here today. First game up, let's go over here to the streets of Cleveland. This one, guys, got Cavs laying 9.5 at the house versus the Washington Wizards in this one. My top look in this game would be the Wizards under their team total 114.5. This was the play that I gave out last night for the Buckets podcast over there on Action Network. Be honest, I mean, I might sprinkle on it, but it's just I'm not feeling the best. I'll be perfectly honest with you, man. So I'd be looking towards Wizards under their team total. If you look at it, the Cavs just gave up 124 points versus the Toronto Raptors. This team is they've only gave up 120 or more points 8 times this season. After the game after that, they're giving up an average of 108 points. Wizards team total is sitting at 114. I think this team could be held less than 105 points today if the Cavs really lock up on defense. They're coming off 2 straight losses. They're back at the house. No real look ahead as well because they play the Wizards again in the same arena in a couple of days. So I expect the Cavs to come out here and lock down the Wizards. This game could be like the Bulls 76ers game yesterday, guys. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Cavs came out there and covered the trifecta spot versus the Wizards, coming off 2 straight losses. But mainly, I'd look for them to really lock down the Wizards' offense. We know that the Wizards like to run and gun. They don't play a ton of defense, but for the main part, their half-court offense is ass. So all the Cavs got to do is run back down the court, set up their defense, make the Wizards play in the half-court, and they could possibly hold this team to under 100 points here. Could be a smack city spot for the Cavs here, guys. I'd heavily lean towards the to the Wizards team total under 114.5. Would not be surprised if the Cavs came out here, smacked them early and often, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Indiana here. Pacers getting 3.5 at the house versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The Pacers have actually beaten the Bucks 4 of the last 6 meetings as well, and they're also 4-2 against the spread and straight up last 6 meetings versus the Bucks. We know this is a quick revenge spot. I told you that the Bucks aren't as great as their 24-9 record, but this is a revenge spot. Now the Pacers can't stop Giannis. The problem is the Bucks can't stop Tyrese Halliburton or any of their guards. The Bucks, they can't guard any guard. So as good as Dame Lillard is on offense, as good as Giannis is on offense and defense as well, the Bucks just cannot stop Halliburton. They couldn't stop Mathurin last game. TJ McConnell came in there and did a really good job versus Dame Lillard. So and the last game went under as well by a lot. The total was sitting at 262. That game ended up going to 235, guys. So it went way under the total, damn near 30 points under the total. That's why you see this one starting to trickle down. I think it was like at 259. It's down to 257 now. So honestly, I don't know what to do with this game. I know that the Pacers are like a nightmare matchup for the Bucks, but we know in the quick revenge spots, it's really hard to bet against that quick revenge, guys. So this is a game that I could see going either way. I could see Halliburton and the Pacers having success on offense once again, but also we know that these two teams have bad blood. So I wouldn't be surprised if it went back and forth, like as far as Pacers went, because that's how it's been so far this season. First game, the Pacers won. Then they won again in the in-season tournament outright as underdogs. Then the Bucks got it done 141-26. Then the Pacers got it done, but this is the quick revenge spot. So honestly, I'm not sure what's happening here. I'd like to lean to the Pacers, but we'd be surprised if Giannis went absolutely bonkers in this game. So maybe look at Giannis over his PRA. Last game he had a triple-double. It's just Halliburton's a bad matchup for the Bucks, and Giannis is a horrible matchup for the Pacers as well, my guys. And Lillard had a horrible game last game as well. So not really strong feel on this game. Let's go over to the streets of New York in this one. Knicks laying 9.5 at the house versus the Chicago Bulls in this one. Not the best of spots for the Bulls. They did beat the Knicks earlier this year as well. So this is the 4th time these two teams matched up. No, first time. This is the second time these two teams matched up. First game, the Bulls beat them outright, 118-117. Now, we know that the Knicks have new blood. They're coming off a big win versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, but now they're laying a ton of points. Now they're laying 9.5 points versus the Bulls team, where this Bulls the Bulls have some guys over there, right? They're coming off a game where they got absolutely smoked from start to finish. Be interested to see if they rest anybody. Nobody played really over 30 minutes in that game last night. So be interesting to see. I mean, that was just a game where the Bulls came out absolutely horrible. They got smoked from start to finish. We know that the Sixers had double revenge in that game. I'm not really sure. I'm not really in a hurry to lay 9.5 with the Knicks. They'll probably win the game, but now you're asking them to win by margin. You see in the last game, they were up by 20 points, up by 21 versus the Timberwolves, and the game got all the way down to a 4-point game. So the Knicks are going to still have some kinks to work out. I think that we should probably wait until they really get used to their guys, because remember, they don't really have a true point guard coming off the bench. They got McBride running the point. Sometimes it'll be Josh Hart, but they're gonna miss quickly more than they miss RJ Barrett, for the simple fact they need somebody to run the show off of the bench. So if the Knicks do make a trade, it's probably going to be for a true backup point guard. McBride isn't bad, but OG Anunoby fits well with this team, but it's still going to take a little time for this team to really get into full chemistry, especially when you're talking about laying 9.5. So honestly, wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Bulls tried their best to bounce back here. You see what I'm saying? They're coming off a horrible game in Philly last night, guys. So I don't like going against teams that's coming off an absolute horrible effort. Maybe the Bulls try to come out here with something in the first half in this one, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Atlanta in this one. Hawks getting a point at the house versus Oklahoma City Thunder. This line absolutely stinks, but I can't tell you, I just can't really look towards the Hawks. The Hawks are 1-12 against the spread at the house. This team is 7-25 against the spread overall. That's the absolute worst in the league. You got the Thunder. You got the best ATS team in the league versus the worst ATS team. I'm not saying it's easy, but I mean, just looking at this game on the brink, you'd have to look towards the Thunder. Chet Holmgren had a real good quote last night. You'd think that they'd have a letdown off a big Celtics win, but he said we hadn't done anything yet. We got 50 more games left. He's saying that we can't look towards, we can't get happy if we're trying to make it deep into the playoffs. He said we're worried about the Hawks. That's a really strong quote from a young guy, from basically a rookie. I know he's a sophomore, but still is on first season actually playing. That's a really good quote. Even after a game, saying we're looking ahead to the next game. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can't wait to play the Hawks. So the Hawks did lose to the OKC earlier this year, 126-117 in OKC, basically the same line. But I can't tell you, it's not the greatest spots with the Thunder. They have won 5 straight, but this is back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 nights and 6th game in 9 nights. Now, this is the youngest team in the NBA. It might not matter, but I believe that's why you see the line so low. But for the simple fact that the Hawks have been absolutely horrible, 1-12 against the spread at the 1-12 against the spread at the house, guys. Absolutely horrible. I'll watch this game and try to learn a little something about the Hawks, but this team has been playing at a historically horrible type of game. Like, how do you play this bad at the house, man? 4-9 straight up at the house, 1-12 against the spread. I don't know what the hell to do with this Hawks team. The Thunder have not been overlooking anybody. They've been balling out. Can't talk you off, just riding with the Thunder basically every single game. So I'm saying SGA is playing at an MVP level. Can't talk you off, just riding with them every single game. But I'm not taking them today here, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Houston in this one. Rockets laying 5 at the house versus the Nets. Nets are in a world of trouble. This line is going down. The Rockets were laying 6.5 last night. Now the line is down to 5. You'd like to say that the Nets are a desperate team, but I mean, they don't play like it. This team is 1-9 against the spread last 10 games, 2-8 straight up. They came out there and got absolutely smoked from the Pelicans. I'm talking about, I think they were down 20 points in the first quarter, guys. So this is the 4th straight road game, last road game for the Nets as well. They're coming off a game. They only scored 85 points. Now, we know that the Rockets are due to regress, but this team still plays really good defense. Even without Dylan Brooks, I think they got Jabari Smith Jr. back in the last game. I'm pretty sure they did. So, yeah, they got Jabari Smith Jr. back in the last one. The Rockets, I mean, this is their 4th straight home game. Nets on the 5th straight home game. Nets on the 5th straight road game. I don't know what to do with this team. I mean, I'd like to say just go ahead and fade them, but I do know that desperate teams, it's just something that I don't really go against. But I can't say they've been basically a fade every single time. Now they have done well versus the Houston Rockets. They've won 3 straight matchups. They've won 5 of the last 6, and they've won 7 out of the last 9 matchups versus the Rockets. And those were different Rockets teams, though. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes you can look at the trends, but you got to know that the Rockets are a different team this year, but I do still think that they're due to regress. And like when I'm looking at the games last night, I'm like, that 6.5 is a little rich for the Rockets, but it is the Nets, and they're playing absolutely horrible. And they just look completely lost right now, to be honest with you. They only scored they only scored 2 fast break points last night, guys, versus the Pelicans. So we know that the Nets half-court offense isn't the best. I don't know what to do with this game. The line coming down that's super fishy. Somebody's betting. Some sharps are out there betting the Nets. I'm telling you that right now. It may matter. It may not. But recent form tells me I can't go anywhere near the Nets. I know that the Rockets are due to regress, but it's just like I have no strong look on this game, guys. I don't really have much breath left here, so I'm not going to waste it. Let's go over to the streets of Minnesota in this one. Wolves laying 6.5 at the house versus the New Orleans Pelicans in this one. I see this as being an under type of game. Pelicans are on a back-to-back here with travel going up to Minnesota. Not the best of spots, but Minnesota has revenge here as well. But also, the Wolves are a team that they're due to regress, and you could tell by the spread as well. Now, they're winning these games, but they're like, that's why we faded them versus the Knicks. They've been teetering on a loss. You see what I'm saying? They're 14-1 at the house. Last game at the house, they won by 2. The game before that, they played the Mavs in a horrible spot, 5th game in 7 nights, and they let the Mavs hang around and know them. The game before that at the house, they let the Lakers hang around and know them with no LeBron. So the Wolves, as good as they've been playing, they're 1-6 against the spread in the last 7. That's what you want to start looking at when these teams are winning games but not covering spreads. It's telling you that the market is caught up with them, and now you're paying a premium to back them. Honestly, I think this line should be somewhere around 4.5, 5. It says 6.5 because the Pelicans are on a back-to-back, but I think they kind of rested Trey Murphy last night to get ready for this game. Now, the Pelicans did already beat these guys. I believe we took the Pelicans in that game. They went out there and smacked them up 121-107. So it's a revenge spot for the Wolves. They have the rest advantage, but in my opinion, Wolves are due to regress. Now, the Pelicans, they can match up well with the Wolves. It'd be interesting to see if Zion plays in this game, because some games he does rest back-to-back. I don't think he's done it the last 2, but it's a really tough game. This is a game where I see 2 top-tier defensive teams, 2 teams that can lock the other team up in the half court. I'd possibly lean to the under. On the spread, I do think it's going to be a toss-up. I wouldn't be surprised if this game came down to the wire. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with this game as far as the point spread. I'd possibly just look towards the under here, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis in this one. Grizzlies laying a point at the house versus the Toronto Raptors. I still think the Raptors are trash, but they do have some sense, like new sense of energy with getting RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly over there. It just seems like they're playing like they're happy. Like, we know RJ Barrett is from Toronto, so he loves to be over there. Now, this isn't a home game. The Raptors, for whatever reason, are 7-3 straight up and against the spread in the last 10 games versus the Memphis Grizzlies. You can argue that those were better Grizzlies team and worse. I'm not going to say worse Raptors teams because they're still kind of just like middle of the pack, but you can definitely argue that they were going up against better Grizzlies teams. Like when they had Tyus Jones and they had Brandon Clark in there, Steven Adams, see what I'm saying? John Moran, Triple J in there. Those are some top-tier Grizzlies teams, and the Raptors are still playing well against them. The Grizzlies are 0-4 against the spread last 4. Doesn't really matter here because they got to win the game outright. This is the 3rd straight home game for the Grizzlies. 3rd game in 4. So let me see. 3rd game in 4 nights. Let me see just real quick. 28, 29, 30, 31, 1, 2, 3. Damn. So this is 5th game in 7 nights for the Grizzlies here. It's not honestly, I'm not gonna lie. You usually want to bet against teams in 5th game in 7 nights. I know that they hadn't had to travel and 3rd straight home game, but you still can't ignore the fact that it's 3rd game in 4. It's back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 nights. And 5th game in 7 nights. You see what I'm saying? That's not the best of spots there. It's not the best of spots as well. Raptors have the rest advantage. They're playing with a new sense of energy. I can see this game going under because we know the Grizzlies are still going to play some good defense. Raptors, if they're not running and gunning, their half-court offense is ass. Now, it might get a little better with Quickly in there because he's actually a nice backup point guard for them. No, I think they started him last game, but they're probably going to run him with the bench unit. I'd still lean towards the under in this game, and I'd have to lean towards the Raptors as well, with this being a fatigue spot for the Grizzlies. Now, if the Grizzlies want to make the playoffs, you got to win these type of games. Like, these are the type of games that's like a must win. You see what I'm saying? But honestly, I'd lean to the Raptors here, just on rest advantage alone, just on them having more energy to put out into the game. So I lean towards Raptors, and this under was at 231.5 yesterday, and it's come down a total of 4 points. So the steam is coming in on the under in this game. I'd lean Raptors. I'd lean towards the under as well. Let's get over here to the streets of Dallas here. Mavs land 11.5 at the house versus the Blazers. It's an astronomical number for the Mavs here. They are coming off a game where they got absolutely smoked by the Utah Jazz. The Mavs have actually been traveling all over the place. In their last 10 games, they've played 7 road games. They've only had 3 home games in that stretch. Now, this is the first game of a 7-game homestand for the Mavs. I expect them to get hot on this homestand. Not necessarily sure if it's going to come here. I'd lean towards the Mavs, like even over them land 11.5. If they hit the 11.5, that means they're going to go over their team total. So let me just see real quick what their team total is. Their team total is 124.5. It's a ton, but it's went up from 122.5 to 124.5. Mavs could probably do whatever they want offensively here. You worried about, they got Kyrie back, but maybe he shook the little rust off versus the Jazz. Maybe this could be a game where he shakes even more rust off. Luka is not passing the ball to anybody, so you kind of worry about Luka ball hogging here. But this is a get-right game for the Mavs. They could lay the 11.5. I just don't like the fact that they've been playing so many road games, and now it's the first game back at the house. When they get to like the second, third, fourth home game, that's when you're like, all right, they're finna get in their groove. They finna start balling. The first game is the trickiest spot. So I'd still lean their way to go out there and smack these Blazers up and lean over their team total, but it's not a super strong spot. The Blazers have actually shown where they could play some of these teams tough, lose the game, but cover the spread. And we know Mavs laying 11.5. It's not the best bet for them laying at the house. Like they're just not the greatest point spread team at the house, my guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Utah in this one, man. Jazz laying 11.5 at the house versus the Pistons in this one, man. Man, I can't get there land 8.5 with the Jazz. I know that the Pistons are ass. I know that they're on the road as well. Obviously, it's a revenge spot. Pistons couldn't even beat these guys without Markkanen, Clarkson, and THT. So Jazz got everybody in there. They ball out at the house, but something tells me that they might had a little bit of celebration. Jordan Clarkson had the first triple-double in over 15 years for the Utah Jazz. You see them kind of in the locker room. Now, I don't know if they're this something tells me they might have went out and like really party. The Jazz aren't going anywhere. They're not going to the playoffs, anything. That was a huge step for them. They have been playing a lot better basketball as of late, but now when you're talking about laying close to double digits with the Jazz, I can't do it, especially not them coming off a huge game. Now, they have been balling. 5-1 straight up in the last 6 games, 6-0 against the spread as well. So they've been playing some good basketball. They do head out on the East Coast road trip after this game, though. You see what I'm saying? They got the Celtics, Philadelphia, and the Bucks on deck. So possibly a little bit of a look ahead for the Jazz, possibly a letdown, possibly a look ahead. Am I looking towards this Pistons? No, but sometimes you just got to single out one team and look at the spot that they're in. And I don't like the spot for the Jazz, no matter who they're playing. It just so happens they're playing the worst team in the NBA, guys. So I hope it makes sense. Just looking at the Jazz, this is not a spot that I'd lay 8.5 with the team against anybody, to be honest with you. A few more games here. Let's go over to the streets of Phoenix here. Suns getting 3.5 at the house versus the Clippers. This line opened up at -1 for the Suns, then went to Clippers -2.5, up to 3.5. Now, no KD. And when you look at it even deeper, this is a playoff revenge spot for the Clippers. I'd like to get there with the Clippers, especially with everybody in there. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. They have a lot more continuity as well. There's only 2 players in this game that played versus the Clippers in that playoff series. That's Josh Okogie and that's Devin Booker. Suns are starting to get hot. They've won 4 straight games. This is their 4th straight home game as well on a 6-game homestand. They're starting to get hot. That's the only thing that gives me a little bit of hesitation here is that the Suns are at the house. They hadn't had to travel anywhere, and they're starting to get a little bit more comfortable. But when you look at the Clippers and they got playoff revenge, they lost that series 4-1. Remember, Kawhi Leonard was out. Then they even lost Paul George, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then it was just Westbrook out there trying to carry the team. So playoff revenge, I could only look towards Clippers here. It's actually a heavily lean, but I don't like the fact that now they're laying points here on the road and the Suns are at the house. So I'd still lean Clippers here. Like I'm really close to taking the Clippers here, -3.5. It was a little bit of a better line last night. The Suns don't play enough defense. The Clippers, can go toe-to-toe with them offensively, and they're actually the team there that plays defense here. And last thing, I know that why I didn't take the Clippers. I saw Ty Lue was going to some 70s party after the last game. And I said, if the coach is going to the party, then maybe some of the players are going to the party as well. So maybe now I know that this is a big game for them, but I just didn't like seeing it. I didn't like seeing that they were going to a party after the game. These guys like to drink and stuff as well. They're millionaires. They got a pocket full of money. They like to go out and have fun as well. So that was a note that I made in my mind. If Ty Lue was going out to the 70s party after that Heat game, maybe a few players are going with them as well. So that's just something just some info for you guys. Not saying that they're going to be super hungover here, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were. I'd still lean Clippers with the playoff revenge. Don't like that they went out to party after the last game. Let's go over here to the streets of LA, and that's info that you probably won't find anywhere else, to be honest with you guys. That's why you guys watch the show. Let's go over here to the streets of LA here. Lakers laying 5.5 at the house versus the Heat. This is a tough game for me here. This is a tough game for me because the Heat were playing really good basketball. I know that they're banged up. These two teams basically these are two of the same type of teams here. You look at the Heat, they're 19-14. The Lakers are 18-17. Basically, the carbon copy, the same type of team. Heat 15-18 against the spread. Lakers 15-19. So I guess with me saying that, I don't necessarily know if the Lakers should be laying 5.5 here. Now they are coming off back-to-back losses. Both teams coming off back-to-back losses. Lakers haven't been playing well. They're 3-7 straight up in their last 10 games, guys. 4-6 against the spread. You look at the Heat before those last couple of losses for the Jazz and the Clippers, they had won 4 straight and covered 4 straight. So you can kind of say that the Heat are in a little bit better form here. But obviously this is the 4th game of the West Coast road trip. They're not in their element playing these late night sleepy spot type of games. Lakers are back at the house where they play a little bit better basketball here. I'm not even going to waste your time. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. These are two really similar type of teams. I can see it being an under type of game because the Lakers, they play good defense. The Heat play good defense as well. But sometimes, every so often, these two teams try to get to running and gunning. So I could even see the total going either way. I'd lean to the under in this game, just like the Pelicans and Wolves game. I'd lean to the under, but as far as a point spread, I'm not too sure in this one, my guys, to be perfectly honest with you, man. But last game up, let's go over to the streets of Sacramento here. You got to lean towards the Kings. Now, I know I said I leaned towards the Hornets last night plus the points. I had no idea that they would win the game outright. The Kings got to be disgusted with themselves. They have to be absolutely disgusted with themselves. They've damn near owned the Magic. They've won 4 straight versus the Magic. They've won 5 of the last 6 and 7 out of the last 10. This is a bounce back spot for the Kings. Now, they were coming home off of a 3-game road trip. That was the first game at the house. It was an absolute horrible effort for the Kings. Both teams are on back-to-back spots, but the Kings have the advantage where they didn't have to travel anywhere. They had a embarrassing game, and they're the type of team where you don't want to play them on a back-to-back. The Magic are not in their element playing these West Coast road games. Now, they've lost both games so far and played teams super tough. Played the Suns tough. They played the Warriors tough last night as well. So I'd like to back the Kings here full game. I think the Magic could possibly run out of gas, but and Magic are one of those teams that are regressing as well. This is their 8th road game in their last 11 games, guys. So they've been on the road a ton, traveling a ton, playing these late night sleepy spots. This could be a spot where the Magic could run out of gas late in this one. But I also lean Kings to have a better start because it was just a horrible game versus the Kings last night. So when you know a team like that, and they come out and when they come out and smack these guys up and get smacked up, you got to look towards them to bounce back after that type of game. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a horrible type of game. I wouldn't be surprised what happened in this game. I'd lean Kings first half full game. I didn't get there with you guys. I'll go through the top lanes and I'll get out of here, man. I got to try and go get some more rest, man. I am not feeling myself whatsoever. I didn't make a single play today. The play that I gave out for Action Network was Wizards team total under 114.5. I'm not allowed to. I hadn't even bet there yet. I might sprinkle like $20 on it or something, but I'm just not feeling the best, man. I'm finna sleep most of the day. I'll tell y'all straight up, man. I never really sound like this. I never really have low energy like this, but I'm fucked up right now, man. I'm fucked up right now. But the main leans of the day would be Wizards team total under. Pelicans Wolves under. I'd lean towards the Raptors and the under as well. Wouldn't be surprised if the Mavs bounced back today and went over their team total over. Heavily lean towards the Clippers there, even though they might have went out and party. It's just a playoff revenge spot. And I slight lean to Kings first half full game, guys. But I'm sorry. I tried to power through the show. It's not something that I'm not feeling it today, guys. Hopefully hopefully I get better by tomorrow. But if I don't do a show tomorrow, don't be mad at me, because I gotta let my throat rest. I got a sore throat, man. I'm finna get out of here. It's all love. If you like the show, if you appreciate me coming on here, even when I'm not feeling well, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go download the Action Network app right now. You get free picks over there. Expert, they letting you know NFL, college basketball, whatever you like to bet, guys. They got it over there at Action Network. It's all love. Post your plays in the comments, guys. We all trying to cash together. Let's get this cash, my guys. We out.